Okay, hi guys, welcome back to another review, and now we have the KZ ASX that we're going to review now. I've already done reviews of these over here, the ASF, CCA C10 Pro and the ZAX, which are here. I've already done reviews of all those earphones on the channel. We've got tons more reviews coming. We've got Campfire Audio, The Audio, Shanling, all sorts of different things. So if you like the channel, please subscribe, and you'll be able to be up to date with the latest reviews that we have coming up. Now, again, I'm going to have to do my usual KZ speak before we get into this review in full, just because I know a lot of you guys are going to be watching this and you're going to be familiar with KZ. KZ does have a bit of a cult following. I do need to speak to those people who are maybe just coming here for the first time, because these are an entry-level set and people might not be so familiar with what KZ are, or you know, the history behind the brand. KZ is, as I've said before, one of the most important IEM companies to have existed in the past 20 years. They came in to tackle the budget, the concept of what equals a budget headphone, like what can you get for your money. For years and years, we were stuck with whatever Sony, Panasonic kind of threw at us as consumers, not really caring too much. They just wanted us to buy it. So they focused on pretty colors, fun gimmicks and stuff like that. KZ came along with a ridiculous price. I think it was $15 or something like $12, $15, a ridiculously priced first earphone, and it was fantastic. It really opened people's eyes to what was available for, you know, the budget people who didn't have the high budget to go and get something expensive, yet still wanted that focus on sound quality. So fast forward a few years and KZ has a ton of earphones. Some are good, some are bad. As I've said before, they throw a lot of earphones out there to the community and kind of use the community as a beta tester program, who they sort of give feedback, and then one rises to the top and that becomes the hot thing for the next month until KZ releases another earphone that gets hyped, and you know, ones fall by the wayside. But what they do in that process is they kind of stumble over each other, and they create this thing where, like, now this isn't specific to the earphones just now, but we're just going to use these as an example. So say this one is $40 and this one's $60, but this one sounds like an $80 or $100 headphone, and this one kind of just sounds about right the money, so this is the better headphone than this one. And you have this situation where they're kind of tripping over each other by producing so many earphones. It's almost like a subscription-based method where, like, people just buy the latest one. People are pre-ordering them without, you know, getting feedback before they order it. I wouldn't ever order something off a pre-order based on a graph or something like that. I mean, this could look fantastic on a graph, and you've got small ears, and look at the size of that. The concept, though, is something that has got people hyped and got more and more people into high-end audio or high-end audio features, and these things sort of become a gateway drug into, you know, really high-end products. And they do a really, really good job explaining that to people and introducing them to features that they maybe never knew existed before. So this is not going to be a long review, because I'm flat out going to tell you not to buy it. The ASX is a 20 driver, 10 drivers aside, balanced armatures. It is just a weird headphone. Like, this one, the ASF, a similar concept. This one has it's an all balance driver setup, and they both have like this fundamental, not a flaw but a characteristic, although this one does have flaws. This one sounds like what I described as consumer-ish pro. It's a decent headphone. I probably think there's still better headphones out there for the money. In fact, I think I said in the review of the ZAX that I would take this over this. I just think that's a more natural presentation of an earphone. That's the ZAX, in case you're wondering. This one's just weird. We're going to quickly go over the body. Typical KZ body, you have the nozzle. This one's shorter than you typically see. There's not a lot of extension into your ear. It's got the resin housing where you can see the driver set up, and it has this large metal faceplate which is far thicker than the faceplates on the other earphones. Because they're trying to cram 20 drivers into these two earphones, of course the body's going to have to be bigger. But you don't need 20 drivers. Like, if they're going to do something, then yeah, you can add 20 drivers into an earphone, but there's earphones with one driver that sound better. So some of the times with KZ, I don't know what their point is. I like that they're trying new things. I like that they're experimenting. This is one of these ones that just didn't quite pay off, because first major problem for me is the size of the thing. I've got medium-sized ears, and these are big for me. Just try to put them in. They fit in and they fit comfortably. They protrude a lot more, but you're definitely more aware that they're in your ear. Ergonomically, they're pretty decent. They have this little mold down into the tragus, anti-tragus area. Build quality is excellent. There's nothing to complain about. The big problem on it is the sound. The bass is, so this is a dynamic driver. This one is this is a dynamic driver. This is a balanced armature driver. Balanced armature you associate with being very punchy, accurate, fast, detailed, those sort of characteristics. This just sounds overbearing and overdone, but it lacks the realism that you get from a dynamic driver. A dynamic driver can move a large volume of bass, a large volume of air, which creates the impact of bass. If you look here, there's a dynamic driver unit, and in comparison, a balanced armature is just like a tiny metal rod that fires backwards and forwards. So one of the things you'll notice if you're standing in front of a good set head speakers, you feel this impactful bass coming. This has, the bass is there, and you're hearing like the thing shouting, "I'm bass, I'm bass, I'm bass," but it doesn't feel like bass because you're not getting that quantity of air or that same feeling hitting you. It's a very, very hard thing to describe here. And I think it's because they have a number of balanced armatures driving the bass, and it's creating this weird characteristic of all these drivers firing bass at you at the same time. It's a thumpy bass, but it's not a realistic bass. The treble is weird as well. It gets to a certain point. So the upper mid's kind of fine, and then it just drops off. Like it just drops off a cliff. With that, you get this complete lack of soundstage. You feel like you want to create a soundstage by having this open, airy, sparkly treble, verging on the hotness level. This just drops off like for no explicable reason. I've tried it with different tips. I've tried EQing it. It was unresponsive to EQ. And with that, you also had the fault that you're right throughout the earphone. I don't know if this is an effect of having so many drivers and matchability and stuff like that, but there's no cohesiveness to the sound, and there's not a lot of, how would you say, there's not a lot of definition and clarity. It sounds cramped, closed, different areas fighting, like the bass is fighting, then there's no real treble to offset that bass, and the mids are kind of just doing their own thing, but they're lacking that detail again. It's just a really, really weird setup. You can see elements of this. This isn't a bad earphone. It's not a great earphone. It's worth about the money it's worth. The ASF. This one is $100, I'm gonna guess. I think it's $100. There's so many earphones that you can get for $100. This isn't gonna be one of them. You know, something like the Final Audio E3000, which I think is $45 or something like that. I would take that just because it's tonally excellent. This is not the one you want to get if you're buying KZ. However, if you like a sort of consumer, fun, poppy sort of sound, you're not too worried about details and stuff like that, and you want an all-BA driver, then this one, ASF, go for that. This one, overall the best one, sort of the $60 under price range, KZ ASX. This one has, I believe, 7 drivers in it, seven balanced armatures, and 1 dynamic driver. You can see it's way smaller. Sounds excellent, worth about the money, not punching too much above its weight, but worth about the money. And this one, the CCA C10 Pro, which is fantastic at $40. So that's it for this review right now. I would skip this one. We have more KZ reviews coming. We have some Tin Hi-Fi review coming, and a bunch of other, as I say, high-end stuff. And we're going to do reviews of these DAP stacks and other stuff over the coming weeks. So this went on a little bit longer than I wanted to. Sorry for having wasted your time for an earphone that you know, you probably knew, like, right from the first sentence, that I wasn't going to recommend this one. Recommend it if you think it's right for you. This one I would pass, and the other one I would still recommend is the ZSX if you can find it, you know, on sale. It's a really, really good earphone, and some of the other KZ earphones as well, which we'll be featuring in the coming months. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good night, and I'm gone.